Aubrey. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Jessica?
I'm good. Guys, I will let you in on a little secret. Before we were recording, Aubrey and I took 5 minutes just to vent some frustrations to each other. And you know what, guys? This is so helpful for relieving stress. And we know that preparing for IELTS is stressful. Do you think students can sort of use this strategy to help them?
Yeah, I kind of love that. It's very cathartic
Yeah,
sometimes. If things are
totally.
frustrating, if they're not going well, it almost makes it worse to just pretend like everything's hunky dory. So
Yes.
I think this would be good if you have either someone else who's studying for IELTS or someone else that would understand, right? You can vent your frustrations to them. And yeah, it'll just kind of make you feel better about the whole situation.
It helps, man. I like to tell my son, it's better to get stuff out of your head than keep it stuck in your head because then
Yeah,
it just gets bigger and more terrible.
for sure.
All right. So today, guys, that was just a little bonus pre-anxiety lesson for you. But today we are going to reduce your anxiety for the speaking exam because we're going to tell you 3 ways in which the speaking exam is confusing, right? I was an examiner for 14 years. I fully admit where it is wrong, frankly,
Yes.
where it is unclear and confusing. So we're going to tell you exactly what to expect on test day so these things do not derail you like they do other students.
Yes, these are pitfalls that trip up a lot of students. Jessica has a current examiner friend. You were an examiner for 14 years and you've kept in touch with a lot of your examiner friends, lucky us, and you picked their brains to get some details here. And these are definitely things that could happen to any student on test day. So if you've already taken the IELTS exam and these things confused you, or if you've never taken the exam before, today's tips are really going to help you.
Totally. And guys, at the end of today's episode, we're going to tell you one of the most annoying things that candidates sometimes do on the exam, and examiners really do not like it when you say this, okay? So stay until the end because we are going to share that insider pet peeve of examiners. All right,
Nice.
so let's get to the first tip, Aubrey. What are we sharing first?
Yeah, so this is all about when the IELTS speaking exam begins, right in the very beginning. And this has changed a little bit over the years, so you may have heard some incorrect information in the past.
Yeah.
So it's all about, what happens, when does the examiner start recording before you even enter the room, right, Jessica?
Yeah, it is so uncomfortable. So in the past, right? Like when I was still examining, what happened, guys, was you would the examiner would go to the door, open the door, and you would come in and could have like a brief human exchange, like, "Hi, how are you?" Something like that. They can't do that today. They're not allowed to do that. The examiner has to start the recording before they let you in the room. And then when you come in the room, they're not allowed to say anything that's not on the script. In fact, I have one examiner friend that got in trouble. She got docked. She was told this was incorrect. When she asked their name and where they were from, she was told that she was wasting time and those questions are optional, even though they're in the script. She should not take time to say that. She needs to get straight to the questions. She was told by the examiner trainers that was a waste of time and she could not just take 1 minute to make the candidate feel comfortable. That is not allowed anymore.
Yes, which this makes it so tricky because if you're the
Crazy.
kind of person who needs to just greet someone, maybe you're super social, you need to say hello before you start. And if not, it might throw you off a little bit. If you're not aware that this is how IELTS works, this would feel very strange to come in immediately, questions start, no greeting, no friendliness. So you need to
Yeah.
be prepared for that. You need to be expecting that.
Exactly. All right. So, here is another tip, guys. If you don't know a word or maybe an entire question's meaning, you have to ask. Okay. So, this is a direct quote from an examiner friend. She said, students sometimes don't understand the question or words in the question and they just answer and they get nervous and they can't talk. And this one guy was so nervous, but I could not help him. Okay, so like we can tell when you're nervous. We can tell when you don't understand what's going on. But we're not allowed to help you unless you ask us. If you ask us, if you say, "Can you rephrase the question or can you repeat that or what does this word mean?" We can answer. We can tell you, okay? But we cannot help you unless you ask.
Yes, this has definitely happened to me when I'm giving some of our students mock speaking exams, and I can see that they've misunderstood one word or they've misunderstood the question. And so nothing they're saying is on topic. I cannot stop them and rephrase the question or help
Yeah.
them. But
Right.
if they recognize that they weren't sure what a word meant or they weren't positive they understood the question and asked me, then I could answer, I could help.
Exactly, exactly. So guys, this is so important. If you're not sure about the question or a vocabulary word in the question, ask the examiner to explain it, okay? Because or else you start talking about the wrong thing and your scores go down. Whereas if you just ask the examiner, that doesn't affect your scores, okay? All right, Aubrey, what is the third tip today before we get to the examiner pet peeve?
Nice. Okay, so our third tip is the transition between part 2 and part 3 is
Awful.
actually very misleading.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to hear. We've been talking about a favorite party, and I'd like to ask you one or two more questions related to this. But first of all, they're saying one or two more questions, and it's not going to be one or two questions. It's going to be six questions. And this is how they're transitioning from part 2 to part 3, but they can't say, we're moving on to part 3. They don't say part 3. So this is really confusing for a lot of students, and they're not even sure that part 2 has ended.
It's super confusing because you answer the part 2 question, you speak for 2 minutes, and then the examiner asks you a short follow-up question, which if you've listened to the show for a while, guys, you know you don't have to give a long answer to that short follow-up question for part 2. Just like one sentence is enough. And then like Aubrey said, they say, "We've been talking to you about blah 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 blah." So that is the cue that you're transitioning to part 3. Some students don't know that if they haven't
Right.
practiced, right? And then they think these questions are still like part 2 questions and they have to talk for a really long time. And it's just a mess. It is a dumpster fire of a part 3. So just make sure you know the format of the exam, okay? When the examiner says those words that Aubrey just said, you know, okay, we are transitioning to part 3 and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, you can see how this would really throw students off. If they're like confused here, they're not sure if maybe they're supposed to continue answering the part 2 question or are we moving on, and then this could just affect your part 3 answers. If you
Mhm.
get nervous, if you're stressed out, if you're not sure exactly, what's happening now, this is worst case scenario. So like Jessica said, you want to really understand the format, the structure of the exam so that you don't lose confidence. You know that you know what's coming next and you are confident with your answers.
Exactly, exactly. All right. So, to quickly summarize before we share the examiner pet peeve, guys, the 3 tips today. Um, when you walk in the room, it is going to be a little uncomfortable and you have to expect that. The examiner is not allowed to say anything human, to say anything friendly to you. Okay. The examiner has to follow a very exact script. Okay. So just be ready for that. Now, second tip, if you don't know what the question means or what a word means, ask the examiner. You will not lose points. And the third point is know the format of the exam. So when the examiner says certain words, you know that it is time to transition to part 3, in which your answers will be shorter than part 2, and you have to use more high level vocab. Okay. Aubrey, can you share the student question that made us think of the pet peeve today?
Yes, and this is not the first time we've gotten this question. It is a common question. So this is from Akari, but just so you know, you are in good company. A lot of IELTS students also have this question or
Mhm.
just do this without even asking.
Yep.
And the question is, on the speaking exam, is it okay to say what score I need to get on IELTS to the examiner?
No, it is
Don't
not.
do it.
Guys, oh my god. This, I mean, yeah, I definitely heard students do this at least once a week when I was
Mm,
examining, and it's still happening, right? Guys, it's first of all, it's rude. Okay. And second of all, it does not accomplish any purpose. You telling the examiner what score you need on the speaking exam does not put them in a positive frame of mind to give you a good score. It sounds like you are telling them to give you a certain score without earning it through your speaking performance. Okay. So, for a number of reasons, do not tell the examiner what score you need. It will come off as rude. Okay. So, that is a big pet peeve. Oh God, it really annoyed me when students did that on the exam because I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this? That first of all, that doesn't answer the question I just asked you, right? And second of all, like, don't tell me what score to give you. So don't do that, guys.
Right, and especially where there is no chat, there is no greeting, you
Right.
would have to ask this as part of an answer.
I
There
know
is
there's
no
no
time when
place
you're
for it.
just chatting. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what do you do for work? Well, I need a 7 on speaking and I'm an accountant. Like, that's weird.
No, 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 no.
All right, guys, find out what you would get on IELTS if you took it today for free. Go to allearsenglish.com/my score. All right, Aubrey, thanks for chatting today.
Awesome, yes, see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.